Is this concerning? So BSC News recently reported that spot Polkadot ETF has not seen any activity in over 2 months. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about DOT here, which recovered around 13% in the past 30 days, and yet still, the spot Polkadot ETF has not seen any activity in over 2 months. Is that, again, concerning? I don't think so, and let me explain why in today's video, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything. Well, first of all, as of right now, with this market slightly recovering, the reason why we haven't seen this mass attention come in yet is because people are still a little bit 50-50. In a sense where they don't really know if this is just a fake recovery or something that's just going to be there for quite a while and then go back down again, or maybe even lower. Again, a lot of people are still wondering what is really the outcome, because it seems like things were so bad for so long to the point where we see a couple of days of a recovery and everyone's suddenly very, I guess, suspect of it. But to me, again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen to the market next, and who knows, this could very well just be a fake recovery or maybe even a prolonged one. We have no idea. But at the same time, my core concern is still not there when it comes to Polkadot. The reason why is because the fundamentals I still think are really awesome. It's focused on interoperability, focused on connecting blockchains together, and it still has over 1 million holders. Yes, the spot Polkadot ETF has not seen any activity in over 2 months, but to me, it's just kind of like this. For instance, if let's say I open up a store and I sell shoes, I sell socks, I sell jeans or whatever, and let's say for whatever reason, a particular item that is in stock as of right now is not seeing that much activity because the demand isn't the best. Now, of course, in the short term, it's going to seem really bad, but it doesn't mean that the demand will be gone forever. It doesn't necessarily mean that. We have seen time and time again that Polkadot historically has been somewhat relevant if the market were to recover. Case in point, it's recovered around 13% in the past 30 days. So again, I think there would need to be a sustained sort of good sentiment when it comes to this space. Maybe there needs to be a prolonged recovery in order to see more activity when it comes to the spot Polkadot ETF. I think it would require that. So seeing how there's no activity in over 2 months when it comes to the spot Polkadot ETF, I think it's kind of the usual as of right now. Even with the slight recovery, I think it's very normal because the demand isn't really there yet in such a massive way. DOT is still below $1, keep in mind. So it's not like DOT has went back to $2 or $3. No, it hasn't. It's still under $1 as we speak. So this is not concerning to me, right? But again, seeing this slight recovery in the past 30 days, I'm not going to complain about it because it is a small step. We don't know, again, if it's going to be prolonged or not. But at the same time, the core sort of questionable issue as of right now is how there has been no activity in over 2 months when it comes to the spot Polkadot ETF. But I don't find it to be a concern personally, just because it actually reflects the current demand when it comes to this space, which isn't still that good. And also the demand when it comes to Polkadot still isn't the best yet. We have to consider this is a project here that is still down over 75% slightly over the past 365 days. So seeing an around 13% recovery in the past month, the journey is still very long, actually. Returning back to just its previous point, even last year. We have to consider, when it comes to DOT, it is still, right, over 10 times away than December of 2024. In December, actually, of 2024, DOT was almost $11. So we're still very low compared to that. So yeah, it makes sense why there isn't any activity in over 2 months when it comes to the spot Polkadot ETF, at least according to BSC News. It doesn't surprise me, and it's not concerning actually, because what would be concerning to me is if, let's say, the project randomly became really bad, if it suddenly said, hey, we're going to become a meme or something, then okay, yeah, that's quite concerning because Polkadot is not a meme. But it hasn't announced all of that. If anything, it's becoming better, arguably, I think. Take a look at Polkadot 2.0, not that long ago, that upgrade, where we saw an aspect of elastic scaling. Let's take a look at, for instance, the clarification of the tokenomics when it comes to DOT and how that was clarified to be 2.1 billion in terms of the maximum supply. So in terms of potential inflation, we kind of have a rough idea when it comes to this currently, which I think is just an awesome thing overall. Not to mention, we saw the recent launch of the Polkadot Development Network, or should I say DevNet, that's the nickname they have for it, right? So I don't feel that Polkadot is bad. I don't think so. The sentiment's not good, but I don't think the fundamentals are necessarily bad. It's not like it became randomly worse for no reason. No, that isn't the case, at least in my opinion. Now, people like to tell me though, does 21 shares regret their spot Polkadot ETF? Now, personally for me, I can't answer on their behalf because I don't know, but personally, if I was them, if like, let's say I put myself in their position, I wouldn't necessarily find this sort of joy, but I also wouldn't find it to be this deep regret either. The reason why is because 21 shares is very experienced, right? They already know more or less how this space operates. They are probably aware that this space could have times when the demand is really not good, but also a time when the demand could return. So I think they're privy to that knowledge. They have a team. They did this after a deliberation, right? After actually putting some thought into whether or not they should do a Polkadot ETF. So they know what they're doing, in my opinion. So when people like to say, do they regret it? I don't know for sure, of course. But if I was them, I wouldn't necessarily find it to be so regretful because it's like, for instance, if I want to run a marathon, then I'm probably assuming that, hey, it's going to be quite a while. So if I'm running a marathon and it's taking quite a while, who am I to blame? I signed up for a marathon. What else was I supposed to expect? And I think it's no different than, let's say, like a store stocking a certain item, like let's say a particular pair of socks or a certain brand that may not be too trendy at the moment. They should probably know that, okay, maybe the demand is going to be a little bit soft for quite some time, but if the demand were to return, this could be also something pretty cool. So I think they already took that into account. So I don't think it's anything unexpected on their part. It's like, for instance, me. I know that I'm personally going to have to be in this space maybe for years, and for many, many years, in fact, just because this space could take quite a while to recover. I don't know the exact timing, but I'm just holding and waiting the entire time. And I think that's kind of what 21 Shares is doing with the spot Polkadot ETF. I think they're understanding that this is not such a short-term thing, it's more of a long-term thing. And I think what they're banking on is the fact that if, let's say, the Polkadot sentiment were to come back in again, 21 Shares could hypothetically receive a lot of that attention just because it already has literally a spot Polkadot ETF waiting right there. I think that's what they're kind of banking on, personally. But yeah, besides that point, keep in mind the ETF holding has a holding of more than 1 in every 200 DOT tokens. So that's a lot when it comes to DOT. More than 1 in every 200? Again, that's pretty impressive. So there's a lot being, held over there. But at the same time, I think this is more so preparing, not really a short-term thing when it comes to them. So it's not concerning to me. And if anything, if DOT were to just go back to December 2024, I'm already going to Sizzler, the restaurant, in a sense where we're over 10 times lower than that. If it just goes back there, I have nothing to complain about. It already feels like a hypothetical altcoin season to me if it were to go back there, even though it wouldn't be, but it would feel like one, at least to me. Now, do I know when things will recover? No. But long story short, I'm just still waiting and holding, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm still dollar cost averaging approximately once a month. That's really about it. But that's just personally for me. But again, long story short, I'm not concerned with the recent posts that I saw lately when it comes to the spot Polkadot ETF. And keep in mind, having a spot Polkadot ETF in the US anyways is already such a major victory when it comes to, in the case of Polkadot, right? Having something like 21 Shares care so much about it to the point that they even bothered with the spot Polkadot ETF. But of course, demand isn't the best as of right now, but what happens if the demand comes back in again? That ETF is waiting right there. That's just the way to take a look at it. But I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very happy and wonderful day. It's Willie the Captain.